All right, hey guys, I thought I would come on as I just kind of get ready for my day, although I've been up for quite a while. I've been doing dishes and cleaning up, and I just, but I thought I would try to pull myself together a little bit. I haven't even changed yet. So I wanted to just come on, and this is for those of you that are interested. This is not a skincare video. This is for those of you who are interested in more of the happenings of the planet, okay, from a much bigger perspective, not the, not the day-to-day stuff, but the bigger perspective. And I'm not presenting anything as, fact or true. This is just what I resonate with at the deepest level of my being, and it's what I am moving with, I guess is the word. It's what my life is in synchronicity with, okay? Or what's in synchronicity with me. I'm not really sure what comes first. So I wanted to just share something that is so evident to me at this point, and it became extremely apparent to me during the event that happened about 6 years ago. And that was when I became painfully aware of the people in the quote spiritual world, astrology world, world of what's going on the planet, meaning just people that are into kind of more the ascension timeline. Okay, for those of you that know what ascension is, right? I think that word has been hijacked, to be perfectly honest. I think everybody has kind of inserted their own ideas. I'm not claiming to know anything, okay? I'm simply presenting what I sense and feel at the deepest level of my being. I think, the idea that, we are ascending out of this 3D reality. We are ascending into 5D reality. I think there's some truth to that for sure. I think that a lot of that perspective is accurate, or as accurate as our human brain can grasp. But I also think that world has been hijacked. Okay, so for as much as I like and align with a lot of the ideas of that, I think we have to be very, very careful, okay? Because what I've noticed is that a lot of people that are promoting this idea of ascension, human evolution, lining it up with astrology and all of that, are promoting, aligning with, accepting, and participating in the transhuman agenda, all right? And they are promoting things like the technology, okay? And especially with regards to anti-aging. And here we go again, right? The whole transhuman agenda relating to the anti-aging movement. And you can see how this concept is part of the ascension narrative, okay, or the human evolutionary perspective, all right, is that all of this technology is going to upgrade humanity. So we can see that, right? Like, it's so flippin' obvious, okay? So a lot of people that are into astrology and stuff and have been charting this evolutionary process of awakening, okay, of ascension, and they are seeing the role of technology as supporting and enhancing this process. What absolutely makes my head explode is the same people that have been bringing this technology to us are evil people with an evil motive, and their agenda is as dark could be. And it's amazing to me that these people don't even do a lick of research. They're so into their discipline that they don't look outside of that and think, could there be another interpretation here? Because if you want to look at the ruling planets and all of that stuff, and oh, this represents technology. Well, what kind of technology? Outer technology or inner technology? Inner technology from our own being. Could it be both? Is it both? Why would we need both? Why would we need both? If our inner technology is coming online, and it's, I say online, we're not computers, okay? We are not computers. We're avatars with ancient technology, memories inside of our body that have nothing to do with the manifested technology in our reality right now, okay? And this inner technology has nothing to do with the external system that we see now. Nothing. Zero. Nothing. Okay? And so many people are falling for the technological bullshit, which is the interface of artificial intelligence and CRISPR technology. Okay? We live in terrifying times. It's absolutely dark. Because their goal is to control humanity. Okay? Not set us free. Control. All right? These are the same forces and the same people that, start the wars all over the planet, spray poisonous chemicals all over the planet, chemicals in our food. These are the same people. These are the mad, crazy scientists of the world, okay, that operate from a very dystopian mindset, all right? So when I talk to people, I really try hard not to be a know-it-all, because that's the last thing that I want to come off as. But it's very difficult to have conversations with people that start thinking that as we ascend and as we move into these next phases, aging is going to be nothing, because there's going to be all this technology to reverse aging and all of that. And it's like, what? Like, wow. And the sad thing is that a lot of the information that they do present, I believe, is very accurate and very spot on, that I align with really deeply. But then they say stuff like that, and it just, boom, man, it just kicks the bucket right out from underneath me. So then, of course, whenever you have somebody that is so misaligned, you have to question their whole orientation and their whole perspective and their whole narrative. Because once you have that 1% infection inside of you, it really starts to permeate your whole being, right? You can't be separate from it. Now, I'm not saying I'm perfect, and I'm not saying that I don't have any false programs in me. I am not saying that. Okay, I'm not saying that at all. I try to be very, very conscious, though, of everything that I believe in, and I obviously try to really sit with it and see, okay, how does this really make me feel at the depths of my being? And sometimes if I don't get a really clear boom answer, and I start doing some research, because sometimes I'll be like, I don't align with that, but I'm not sure why. And then I'll start doing the research, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, yes. So I was listening to a little clip yesterday. oh God, he's that doctor, something Bush. Forget what his first name is. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of him, okay? At all. But it just happened to pop up. Because of course that happens, right? Because the algorithm, your computer knows everything you're doing. So I was just looking up, referencing some of the human DNA unfolding to 4 strands in healthy cells. I was just referencing some of the studies and some of the, scientific articles. Empty, going to be making more. So I'm going to start experimenting with the bakuchiol, right? I'll keep you guys posted on that journey. Just a little skincare side note, okay? Because you guys know I do that on this video as well. I mean, on this channel. So, of course, I go to Instagram to check a couple things. I'm not on Instagram, and I hardly ever go on there. Like, hardly ever. But if I'm like on Etsy or something, and I, did I just say Etsy? I didn't mean Etsy. I meant Pinterest. Sorry, my brain is just, I don't know, cuckoo this morning, I guess. So if I'm on Pinterest, and I like to go on Pinterest now and then because there's a couple like physical therapists that I follow and a couple people who do some interesting stuff. And I just, I like Pinterest better than the other platforms because I feel like with Pinterest, sometimes things pop up that I find really interesting that like, I'd be like, oh, that's interesting, more so than some of the other platforms. So I will go on Pinterest from time to time. And I happen to come across this video of this guy talking about this DNA unfolding to 4 strands. Now, he's being interviewed about it, and I've been talking about this stuff for years. Like, I'm just saying. But I don't appeal to the masses for sure, because I don't, I don't present myself in this polished way where, I just don't, because I don't care about any of that stuff. But I've been talking about human DNA upgrading for my whole adult life. I've been talking about it since I was like 19, 20 years old, and I'm now 57. Okay. So I'm listening. Oh, I think his name is Zach Bush. Is it Zach? Or anyway, whatever his name is. Again, I'm not a fan, so I don't follow him, and I don't really pay much attention to him because I've heard a couple of things that he says, and it makes me want to vomit. So I just don't like him personally, meaning me personally. Don't like him. I don't like him. And his energy feels weird to me. I don't know. I don't know about it. But anyway, he is talking about it. And he was talking about, it was discovered in, I think, 2013. And prior to that, they hadn't seen it. And I believe that is a flat out lie. And I actually did a post on my community channel connecting the dots and showing why I don't believe that. So this is really what I'm trying to say, is that when I have a belief system, I try to make it work. And if I can't make it work, then I'm like, okay, well, I just kind of believe this and I can't prove it. So it's like, we'll see. But then when I can actually start drawing the connections and like showing you like, okay, back in this year, they did this. Back in that year, they did that. They did this, And then I start to show you connect the dots. And then I'll show you how it's all converging right now at the same time. And I'm like, don't tell me that they only discovered this, no. Like, you would have to be an absolute naive fool to believe that. Or you are controlled opposition and you actually work for the dark forces in promoting the controlled opposition narrative, which is also going to lead people down the garden path. So that's where I'm at with like most people these days. And again, I don't want to be that negative person, like everybody sucks, But I'm kind of there. There's very few people that I will even listen to anymore. Like, there's very few people that I think have anything interesting to say that isn't wrapped around the fucking agenda somehow. And, you know, a lot of these controlled opposition people, their narrative is clever. It's really clever, and it really sucks people in because people are not connected to their inner light that shines light on the bullshit. And I've been sucked into it too, but thank goodness my light eventually starts shining brighter, and I'm just like, yeah, no. Fuck no, actually. Like, full stop. And then I'll go back to those people. And there was a woman that I was listening to a while ago, and I kind of liked some of the stuff that she was saying. I aligned with a bit of what she was saying, and some of the stuff she said made me really excited because I was like, I am not the only person that thinks this or like sees things this way or whatever. But then I started to notice things were taking a little bit of a strange, not a strange turn, because I think she always had it, but I started to like feel a little bit uncomfortable with some of the things. And I'm okay with that. Like, I understand that I'm not going to resonate completely with everybody. And it's like, okay, I just want to take what feels right and leave the rest. But then there were some things that were just like poking me the wrong way. And I just stopped listening to this person completely. And then it was like months later, we're talking months later, I went back and listened to something because I just was like curious to see where she was at. And it was really the same thing over and over and over and over. There really was nothing kind of added to it. And it was like, oh, okay. And then she said a couple of other things prior to that I connected and was like, okay, this makes sense. I get this. And this is not for me. This is absolutely not for me. Even though a lot of what she was saying, I deeply aligned with and still do to this day. But I started to realize that there was something not right. There was something that I was feeling kind of rubbing against me. And I'm not going to get into the details of it. And again, we live in crazy, crazy, crazy times. You know, there's one way to approach things where you present information as like, I align with this at this time. This is interesting. This is what makes the most sense to me at this time. But, you know, when we wrap ourselves around something so firmly and deeply, and I'm talking really about things in the reality, like not necessarily what's going on within us, but like what's going on with the planetary stuff, in the universe, and, you know, humanity and all of that. We have to be really, really careful that we don't start putting things out there as matter of fact. And this is, you know, this is the deal, because it really cements us, right? And then we are unlikely to be able to expand our perception. And I know that we are constantly expanding our perception because we can't really fathom. We can't fathom the universal consciousness, right? Or the cosmic consciousness, cosmic. We can't fathom what's beyond here. We just can't. And then beyond that, and then beyond that, and then beyond that, right? Like, we can't fathom it. So I don't pretend to. I don't pretend to think that I know. I don't. All I know is what I feel at the depths of my being. And the closer I get to that, the more aligned I feel to certain things, and the more disconnected I feel from other things. And it happens with people, it happens with narratives, it happens with, you know, stories, it happens with, you know, what's out in the world. You just find yourself no longer connected to certain things, and you find yourself reconnecting, or, you know, maybe things from the past, or connecting, just a new connection to things that are starting to feel more right for you. But the controlled opposition does not have to be willful, okay? There's a lot of people that are participating in the controlled operations, right? Which is basically giving you truth, but then controlling the narrative to keep you in the matrix, right? And I think there's a lot of people doing it they're not doing it willingly, and they're not doing it knowingly. It's because they themselves are not completely anchored to their inner light and their inner truth. So yeah, they're tapped into this truthful stream, but they're also captured in that area of their being where they are actually promoting matrix stuff. And because the people that are listening to them are usually hungry people will eat poison, okay? So the problem is the more you listen to people out of a need or a desire, right, to gain information, then you are going to be manipulated. It's that simple. I can't say it any other way. It's that simple, okay? And it's easy to be fooled by people, really easy to be fooled. But if you listen to people, you're already so deeply anchored in your being, you listen to people, you can spot the red flags. You're like, nope. And then they might present something new where you're like, I have never considered it from that perspective. Like, oh, super interesting. Like, I'm going to hold that. And I'm going to let it brew inside of me. And I am going to really just see where this goes. And I'm grateful for those moments because it will oftentimes help to expand my perspective, or I will go off down a little bit of a rabbit hole and I will realize that was just, that's just another deception. It's just another deceptive track. It's interesting, but deceptive. Okay. And then I will connect the dots and I will be able to see why that's deceptive. Okay. Now, some may say, well, how do you know that the information you're finding is legit? And that is just, again, researching till your fingers bleed, right? Some things, though, are obvious, like dates, because we live in a dated, timed world. We just do. These people that are like, oh, there's no time. Well, there is in this reality, you know? Try not going to work on time and see what happens. You're going to get fucking fired. Okay, so there is time. It's just, we're talking about these concepts like there is no time. Well, yeah, we're timeless beings, and in the infinite reality, yeah, there's likely no time, right? I mean, this is like a construct within the matrix, but to be walking around like there's no time, it's like, shut the fuck up. Like, these are people that are so disconnected from reality. They're like, I don't even know what to say. But it's like, do you ever look at a clock? Do you ever have to show up? Do you ever have to go meet someone for lunch at 12 o'clock? Like, yes, there is time. Now, wouldn't it be nice, though, if we didn't have to live with being ruled by a clock? But the ancients were ruled by the position of the sun. So they also were living in time. They knew where they needed to be, where the sun was in the sky. They were still living according to a cyclical clock system. It just wasn't the system that we happen to live on, okay? Which is, tick, 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 tick on our wall, on our hand, on our computer. I mean, on our cell phone. I don't have a cell phone, but you know what I'm saying. But they still did. Okay? And I find it interesting that the ancient clocks, some of the ancient clocks in like Europe and stuff, have not only the time, but they also have the astrological directions, the astrological time, which I find fascinating. And this just goes to show you that our ancient predecessors were definitely living kind of in a different reality based on these different concepts. And I believe that there has been major resets to try to eliminate this and wipe this out of our consciousness, because they don't want us to have that memory and to have that knowledge. So there's a lot going on here. There's a lot going down. There's a lot going down on this planet right now. And it's obvious because whenever the bigger authorities and the bigger, power structures start, wars and banking crises and lots of violence and lots of crap, that they are desperate. It means they are desperate. They are starting to lose their grip and they're starting to get really, really desperate. And then they start coming in like a lot more heavy, right? A lot more hot and heavy. They start coming out with more rules and laws and all of this stuff. But they always have the control opposition narrative going on as well. So you have to be really keyed into yourself and really tuned in order to sense and feel like what's going on. Like every time I hear something like, yeah, that was just a distraction. I'm not saying it's not happening, and I'm not saying that's not real. It's a distraction. It's just a distraction from bigger things going on. Okay? No one's coming to save us. This should be painfully obvious by now. Now, all these people clinging to these savior narratives, oh, it's always in the fucking future, isn't it? No, nobody's coming to save us. And if people would wake the fuck up from that, maybe things wouldn't be the way that they are right now. No one is coming to save us. Humanity is going to rise and save themselves, or we're going to be fucking toast. And we are going to implode when the universe decides to pull the plug on this experiment. So how do we want the rest of this experiment to go? Because we're living in an experiment. What else could it be? We all die and leave this planet. Nobody's staying here forever, okay? So it's just an experience, right? An experience is an experiment, right? And it's been shitty. It's been shitty. This planet has been fucking shitty for a long time for a lot of people. It's been downright horrific for a lot of people. And this isn't the best we can do. We have not been evolving. We've been devolving. We've been devolving. And I don't know if it's since the last reset or how many resets prior, but we have been devolving. So we have not been in this evolutionary growth. We've actually been devolving. And it's where I do kind of part ways a little bit with the evolutionary astrology, because, you know, they talk about the building of the matrix and they line it up with astrology as if it's been a good thing. It's actually been detrimental to humanity because it's anti-nature. So much of it is anti-nature. If it was in alignment with nature and in alignment with humanity, and it truly was helping humanity to thrive as a whole, but it hasn't. It hasn't. We have more crime now than ever due to technology, right? So these things have not been of any great value to humanity. So I struggle with that. And that's why I think there's been a hijacking of astrology as well. I think there's been a hijacking of every system that we have, which is why we cannot rely on any of it. Now, again, for those of you that used to follow me on Telegram, or maybe have listened to some of my older videos, the ones that are now gone, because I wiped out my channel because YouTube decided to go pluck a video and strike it. Which sucks, because when they do that, I'm like, great, I have no idea what you're going to go back into my history and pluck now that you changed your fucking algorithm. So I panicked and I deleted all my videos, and I'm like, I'm just going to start fresh, and I'm going to be super mindful, and I'm not going to talk about anything like heated. Although I'm starting to kind of go back and kind of pull back in some of my content. We'll see where it goes. But I ended up getting nervous because they plucked 2 of my videos in a day. And if you get 3 strikes, you lose your channel. So I freaked out. I deleted my videos. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just leaving YouTube. Like, this is stupid. What am I doing here? I don't have a lot of followers. What am I even doing here? But a couple of you reached out to me and were like, no, we love your stuff. Please stay. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll stay. So I'm still here. That's why, when you look at my channel, it says I've been on for a couple years or whatever, but I don't have videos that are back there because I deleted them because, yeah, I'm like, if you're going to pluck a video that wasn't like within the last couple of hours, and you're going to go back and pluck something from a couple days ago, a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, I have no idea what you're going to pluck next. So I got super nervous. So anyway, I've talked about this stuff a lot in the past couple of years, and some of those videos were really intense. Like, I'm talking intense. And I wish that I could, I wish I could repost them, but I deleted them from my iPad as well. I just got rid of them. I was done. I was just done. I thought it was done. I was acting impulsively, but I was like, I am done. Delete, 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 gone. Don't care. I'm done with this. I am done trying to help people. I am just done. And then here I am. But I've been tiptoeing, and I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, and it's kind of difficult to, do my channel knowing that I have all of these constraints. So it's very, very challenging for me. Okay. I just wanted to get that out of the way. But for those that have watched some of my older videos, you know that I have done tarot in the past, and I did not use the tarot the way a lot of people use it. Okay. And I do not do a tarot reading like a lot of people do it. Okay. It was very unique. It was very different. And yeah, it was different. Okay. And it got to the point where I just stopped doing it. Stopped. The readings were so profound and so deep, and people were just like, and I've done readings for people that are hardcore skeptics. Okay. I'm talking people that don't believe in it at all. They want me to do a reading for them because they want to prove me wrong. Okay. And these aren't like asshole people. They're people that are like, that I knew, like in the circle, in my personal circle. But they don't believe it. And they're like, oh yeah, they're like, we like you, but you're like off your fucking rocker. Like, no, they thought I was nuts. And they were like, this stuff is fake as the day is long. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not. And they're like, I can't believe anybody would, pay for. I'm like, I don't charge money for this. Never charge money for a tarot reading. And so, it's kind of like, oh, well, whatever. And just, he kind of got on his thing. And again, this has happened more than once. All right. I'm just giving like one example right now. And didn't believe it. And we were with a group of people. And we happened to be at my house. So he said, well, he goes, I'll let you do a reading on me. And I'm like, I don't want to do a reading on you. Like we're in front of a bunch of people. I don't want to have to censor myself, because whatever I see, I'm going to say. Whatever I sense and feel is what I'm going to say. I said, and I don't know. He's like, well, I don't believe any of this stuff. He goes, so go ahead. Like, go ahead. Do a reading for me. Go ahead. He goes, I don't care. And he was not, again, he wasn't being an asshole. It was more of like a poking, kind of like, poking. And he was being a little bit, I don't know. I don't know what the word is. Anyway. So I'm like, all right. Something was like, all right, just do it. Do it. Now, I had done it long enough to know that it is sure as hell not fake. So I wasn't at all concerned that I was going to be humiliated in front of these people. Wasn't concerned at all about it, right? I wasn't cocky either. Like, I wasn't being arrogant and cocky. I just know. I had a relationship with this field. So I go get my deck, one of my decks, and I do his reading. He was speechless. He literally sat at the table, holding his head like this, going, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, he was blown away by it. It shattered his perception. It shattered his belief system about what's real and what's not real. Now, when you're a shitty tarot reader and you're pulling in lots of dark forces, and you're you might be giving a lot of truth, but you're steering them in a wrong direction, and that happens a lot with tarot. You have to be so careful, which is normally why I don't suggest people do it. Do I think I'm perfect and great? No, but again, my readings were very different from other people's readings. Just different. They're just different. He was blown away by it. And my daughter's husband, they weren't married at the time, but my daughter's husband was sitting there, and he was very skeptical of this stuff too. And he had never had a reading before. Actually, no, I think they did when they were kids. I think we drew a couple cards for all the kids one day when they were here, because we've known her husband since he was a kid, because his mom is one of my best friends. So, and I remember the quick little cards that we drew for the kids were spot on accurate, but this was a long time ago and whatever. But as an adult, he didn't really believe in this stuff at all. And he thought it was like really hokey. And his girlfriend, not my brother, not my son-in-law, but the guy that I did the reading for, his girlfriend was again, a little bit skeptical, but a little bit more open-minded, maybe just because she's a female. Sometimes I find women to be a little more open-minded when it comes to stuff like that, because I think naturally women know that they're intuitive. And so I think it's not really that big of a stretch for them to think that you can be intuitive if you really tap into it and kind of tap into some other people's stuff, right? So I think it just makes more sense to them, whereas men are typically not as intuitive, so they tend to think that this stuff is baloney a lot more. That's just my experience. Anyway, so I do his reading, and he was absolutely blown away. Blown away. And he and his girlfriend were just looking at each other like, wow. So then she says, would you do my cards? And at this point I was like, okay, I did not expect to be doing tarot all night long. So, but I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it. It's fine. I love to show people that their perceptions are wrong. Okay, I love that. I love that. So I take the deck, I take the cards in, and when I put the cards back into my deck, I do not put them together. I take them out one by one and I throw them into the deck in all different places. And then I shuffle and shuffle and shuffle and shuffle. And I shuffle for a long, long time. Ask anybody. I shuffle for a very, very long time. Okay. And then when I actually throw the cards down again, I do not throw all from the top. I throw one, shuffle, 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 throw two, shuffle, 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 throw three, just so that you understand how I do tarot. Okay. So there can be nobody saying, oh, Diana, no. This is what came out. And if cards start flying out and popping out of the deck, those are the cards you throw down. So I put her cards down. This is no lie. May the universe strike me dead. I'd be happy to go. Not lying one bit. Her cards were exactly the same as her partner, but in a different order. The exact same cards. I instantly knew these two weren't going to make it. I just knew it. I don't know these people. I had just met them this night. I do not know these people. Don't know anything about them. Don't know their background. They're friends with my daughter and her husband. And this is all I know about them. We had dinner, we hung out, but I don't know them beyond that. And I just knew because of the cards that she had the same cards. So a lot of the main issues were the same, but they were in a different order. And I was just like, oh, okay. I didn't say anything. I didn't say, it feels and senses to me like you guys are not going to make it. Why would I say that? No, I didn't say that. So there's sometimes things that you sense and feel that you just don't say. You just don't say it, right? So I go on to do her reading. And again, she was blown away by it. And she was like, I'm having a hard time with this. She said, because it's challenging me in ways that I like can't even, and I'm like, I know. I said, I know. And this happens to some people sometimes. I said, it's all right. Just sit with it and be with it. And it was deep stuff. And I'm like, this is, when you get a reading in front of other people, you just gotta be okay with it, But my daughter's boyfriend at the time, was sitting there like, if I didn't just see this, because he knows them. They're friends, right? They know them. He goes, I wouldn't believe this. He goes, I would absolutely not believe this. He goes, I would not believe that she got the same cards. Like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, what are the chances of that? Oh, slim to none? 0? It's not really 0. Nothing is 0. But yeah, slim to none. Considering how many cards in the deck there are. Shuffling. And it was probably like maybe a 5 or a 7 card spread. I can't remember how many cards I did, but yeah, what are the chances? What are the chances? First card being the same? Okay, yeah, what are the chances? But yeah, second card being the same? Again, what are the chances? Third, fourth, fifth, possibly 2 more. Again, I don't remember the details of it. This was quite a few years ago. And I guess the only reason I'm sharing this with you guys is that there is some kind of informant on this planet that we all like have access to and can tap into. Is it a good informant or is it a bad informant? Is it a spy or is it your true light, right? And that's the problem. There's a lot of spies in the universe. They trick you. They're deceiving. They're deceivers. And there's a lot of them. So you have to be really in touch with your light, and you have to have a clean energy field, which a lot of people don't have. So they can't discern. They cannot discern what is coming from a good place, what is coming from a dark place. And I stopped doing tarot readings because people wanted tarot readings, but yet they weren't wanting to do the work in their own life. And this is so fucking typical of people. And I just was like, nope, I'm done. I'm done doing tarot readings. I'm just done. So on occasion, my daughter will want me to draw a few cards for her or whatever. And again, sometimes I say, nah, I just don't want to. Like, I just don't want to. And you don't need it because you already know the answer. And that's the truth of it. We already know the answers. We already know. All the tarot does is validates what your spirit knows that your mind wants to turn away from. That's all it is. And anything that goes beyond that, like fortune telling and predicting and stuff, that is not aligned with the light, at least in my perspective. Now, can we see some future events based on the energy? Like, wow, your energy is like, whoa. And it's likely that you two aren't going to make it, right? But I didn't say it because I didn't really know for sure. Maybe they would work on their stuff and they would align and they would come together and they would make it, because there's always that possibility. Always. There's always the possibility to shift your timeline. So predictions and fortune telling and stuff, you got to be super careful with that stuff. Super careful. So I never do it. Okay. I did a reading for my girlfriend one night. Her and her friend, we had all gone out. We came back to my place because I'd made a big pot of soup that day. So we came back to my place. It was late out. It was late. It was like midnight, like 11. Maybe like 11 or something. It was late. It was nighttime. So we come back to my house and we were having soup. And my friends were like, oh, can we both get a reading? And I'm like, oh, we'll be up all night. So I was like, yeah, sure. So I did a reading for both of them. And again, deeply profound readings. And my girlfriend, I was reading her cards and I could clearly see that her marriage was going to fall apart. I could clearly see it again, but I didn't tell her. I just hit the highlighted themes, but I did not point blank say your marriage is going to be destroyed. She had all of the cards for it, all of it. But again, is that fortune telling? Is that predicting? This is where the energy is right now. It could potentially change because we are not on a predestined course, okay? I'm not saying that there aren't things that are destined that are going to just happen no matter what, but I'm just saying overall our lives are flexible. We are in a state of fluidity. We're doing things each and every day that can shift the direction of our life, right? So I don't do that to people. I don't tell them point blank, this is going to happen, matter-of-factly, okay? But I saw it. I saw that her marriage was over and there was some dark shit going on. And I could see it. And she had the Tower card, which is everything falling apart. And she had the Romantic card and the Devil card. And it's like the death of falling down, destroying, destruction, the death of the marriage. Like I could see it. But I didn't say anything. And they go home that night. And things got busy. And I didn't talk to my girlfriend for a couple of months because we just did, God, she's got kids. I got kids. Life is busy. She's working full time. And I'm homeschooling. And we were just super busy. So a couple months go by and I don't know if she reached out to me or if I reached out to her. I can't remember. But anyway, we connected and her husband had separated and they were going to get a divorce. And she just looked at me and was like, I'm so sorry. She goes, you saw it, didn't you? And I said, yes. Like, yes, it's that same thing. And she knows why I didn't tell her. You just don't say shit like that. And I did another reading for her. I don't know, this was quite a few years ago. And she had a new guy in her life. And I saw some cards that were kind of like, and again, I didn't say anything. We just did the reading without mentioning that. And it wasn't that much longer that her partner ended up getting Alzheimer's disease and is now no longer living with her. And he's getting worse and worse, progressively worse. And, they no longer have the relationship that they had. And I saw it. And I saw that this was going to be shifting dramatically. There was something that was going to sever what they had in the moment and that this was going to change radically. And again, I saw it, I felt it, it was there, right? It was there. So for people to say that it's not accurate, yes, you can have a bad reading from someone who does a shitty job. I remember I was out in California with some friends, and there was a place that was doing tarot readings, and I really didn't have much desire to do it. And then I was like, oh, it's kind of cheap. And I was like, I don't know, it'd be kind of interesting. I'm out in California and whatever. Let's see what somebody out on the West Coast has to say, right? So I did the reading. It was absolutely horrible. She was a fraud. She was an absolute fraud. She was terrible. She didn't see me. She didn't get anything right. She didn't, nothing. She was pulling straws from the air. And this is someone who is just not connected at all. Then I've had readings from people that are pretty psychic and they're connected in some ways, but they're also tied into some dark energy. And I've had readings like that as well. So I've had my experience for sure, but I don't do tarot anymore. I still have my decks, and I'm not saying never, ever, 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 but I haven't done one in a really, really long time. And when my daughter comes over and wants to pull a card, I usually just give her the deck and she does it herself. Because I'm just kind of like, you know what? That's just not what I want to be doing anymore. You know, usually I talk to people and within a few minutes of conversation, I can kind of sense and feel where they're at. And I don't even need the tarot. I just don't even need it. And then through conversation, I can kind of tune into things. But sometimes the tarot is nice because it gets me to focus, you know, on things. Because sometimes it's like, whoa, like you start to feel this, you know, wah, you know, and it can be a little hard to focus on it because it's so vast. So the tarot does help you to focus a little bit, which is nice. But again, I just find that it's not really necessary for me anymore. So I guess I've grown. I guess I've developed more fully my own, you know, my own thing. But it's not fortune telling and it's not psychic. It's just tapping into their energy, into their patterns, and into their signature, what's going out into the ether, into that plasma world, right? And then I'm able to kind of pick up on it and feel, because we are all connected. And that's really what it is. We're all connected. And the more that you tap into unity consciousness, into that plasma field of the signaling that connects humanity instead of keeping us separate, you can start to tap into people's things more easily. Like you really can sense it and feel it much more deeply, for good or for ill. Because some people have very dark stuff around them. And the more you can sense it and feel it, you can be like, I'm staying away from that person. Even though they seem really nice, like, wow, you got some really dark stuff. And I have a friend right now who's really struggling, and she's definitely got a black cloud around her, for sure. But her heart is so beautiful, and her heart is so pure that no matter how dark it gets, it's like her heart is still wide open. And I have such a nice feeling when I'm around her. Like, even though I know she's kind of like surrounded with this curse, so to speak, right? They call it a curse, like you're cursed. And she is cursed. Like, she's just got this fucked up curse going on. And it's like one thing after another, after another, after another. But her heart is so big. And sometimes I wonder if that's why, you know, that curse, that energy is trying to get into her, because her heart is so open. And she's such a beautiful human being. Yeah, because, you know, the dark forces like to get those people. They're the ones that they oftentimes go after the hardest. And I'm not saying that, you know, I'm this incredible light being. I'm not saying that. But I can say that I've been through my challenges too, where I knew that the forces were really trying to get me. They were trying to get me. I could feel them, sense them. Everything in my life was just like, it was a struggle. It was a struggle, for sure, for me to really stand firm in my light, despite the fact that things were, you know, were around me that were very, very dark, very deep, very dark. And some people might say, well, that's just life. No, the forces of dark on this planet are not natural forces to this planet. Okay, they're evil forces, which is the inversion of love. And from my deepest perspective and understanding is it doesn't belong here. It infiltrated the planet, okay? The fall of man, the infiltration of this dark force, okay? It's not part of the original blueprint of this planet. which is to be in harmony with unity consciousness and nature and the cosmic creative system. The dark energy is the inversion of that. And where it came from, I have no idea. Why it was allowed, I have no idea. Okay, I don't know. But it's an inversion of that. So it takes everything that is good and aligned with unity consciousness and nature's program. That's an Oracle Girl word, nature's program. Okay. I didn't coin that. All right. That's her word. I always just called it universal consciousness, universal unity mind in harmony with nature. Oracle Girl calls it the nature's program. It's nature's program. And this dark force inverts that, inverts it. So it inverts everything that is good and it inverts it. So it creates competition and chaos on the planet, wars, famine. I'm sure famine could happen even in nature's program, but I'm just saying like man-made famine created by humans because of war and, you know, lack of supplies and not being able to get food to places because they've been, you know, they've been completely closed off because of, you know, war, chaos, laws, sanctions, what have you. Okay, those are man-made things. We've polluted the water, we've polluted the planet. We have all of these artificial signals that are flying through the ether, the plasma, through artificial electromagnetic frequencies that come from the controllers. Okay, not from nature, but from the controllers. And then you have, you know, all of this artificial intelligence, CRISPR technology, all of these things that are coming out full force. Okay, they're coming out full force to manipulate and control. It's not about being in harmony, it's manipulate and control. And this is when we have to stop and say, oh, AI, who's behind the algorithm? You really trust those people? Do you really trust those people? Because I don't. Do you trust the people at Big Pharma that are working at Silicon Valley with all these big tech and AI people and, you know, working on their agenda? Do you really trust these people? Because it's interesting how ever since COVID, what do we have? Ever since COVID, we have CRISPR technology, AI interfacing. Okay, now we have Elon Musk with all his brain chip centers that are now starting to be built all over the place. So they're ready to start chipping humanity. Okay, we've arrived. And this has all been part of the agenda and the plan for a very, very, very long time. The global takeover that they've been talking about for centuries. Okay, this isn't new. It's not a new plan because the dark force is not from this planet. So it's had all of this. It's just getting into the humans and getting it to be brought to this manifestation. And now, boom, they've got humanity where they want them. And it's ready to go. Okay, but we also are going through an organic upgrade that has nothing to do with that system. But if you are not keyed into it and tuned into it, you could very likely fall into their hands and be manipulated by their miracle shit, okay? Sounds miraculous, right? Oh, you type in a spiritual question and AI gives you this answer that is mind-blowing and, oh my, yeah, you see the deception, right? Okay? This is programmed by the dark force algorithm, okay? Because we have our own inner technology where we don't need that. We don't need it. And whenever I'm struggling with anything, I just ask myself the question and my inner being gives me the truth because I already know it. We just trick ourselves that we don't because we get caught up in the mind. The more you get connected to your own self in through, I don't know, I think it's here. I don't really know where it is, but it feels like it's heart and gut for me, but I don't really know. Like this is what it feels like to me. It already knows the answer. And it may take a while for it to reveal, right? Because everything is just timing. It may take a while for it to reveal. But I don't have to seek it externally. It either just validates what I think. It might give me something to think about, like, oh, I never thought of it that way before. And then I'm going to like go down that path and I'm going to just sense and feel it. But then my inner being figures it out. Yes, no. And then I find the information to support or validate. Yeah. So anyway, this video was long, almost an hour. So I apologize. I know this is not for people that don't want to listen to long videos. This is for those of you that that are really coming back to yourself and are learning to pull your trust away from those that are not trustworthy, okay? And nobody outside of you is trustworthy, all right? They might be wonderful people, but they are not trustworthy to guide your life. So make sure you are in control with the universal mind and universal consciousness, and make sure that you're not being hijacked, and make sure that you're not being deceived by always checking in with the deepest part of your being. And a lot of people don't even know what that is. They're not there. So it's a dilemma. It's difficult, I know. If you don't know, how do you know, right? If you don't know, it's like you hear something, it sounds good, but like you're not really sure how this apparatus works. You just have to spend time with it. You have to be alone, and you have to have the truest desire in your being to connect with your inner light and your source without any interference. And that's when it starts to blossom. At least that's when it really started to blossom for me. I just was lucky because I was born with it partially on board. So I was in touch with things that a lot of people weren't. But as I've gotten older, it continues to unfold and it continues to bloom. So yeah. Remember, the stakes are really high. The system is desperate. The deception is going to start ramping up, and you better know who you are. Okay? Signing out.